Go ahead, Michael.
Hello, Alicia and everyone else.
Hi,
I did,
everybody.
I'm interviewing Alicia today, although on her channel because mine has been banned for now, so I'm trying to appeal it. But anywho, I wanted to ask Alicia. I wanted to return the favor because Alicia asked me about my goals and dreams, so I wanted to return the favor. But I was hoping to stick to a theme on how we could, as well as hearing Alicia's personal goals and dreams, I wanted to hear about how I want to discuss how we could help each other as dyslexics, but also make the world a better place, how we can use our creativity. So, what do you think about that, Alicia?
Yeah, this has been my dream for quite a while now, and I've been growing it and expanding it. And you're talking with you, Michael, reminds me of my goals. My overall goal, for me being on the platform is to create a community where neurodiversic people can support other neurodiversic people and empower them, break old patterns of think patterns, that we're not able to be part of this world. And I don't know about you, Michael, but my own experience, I had so many experiences where people would point out how I speak, for example, or if I mess up a sentence in my writing or in my speaking, my way of thinking, they didn't understand my way of thinking, you know. So there was a lot of times in my life where I felt like I was alone, and I did not know too many people who were neurodiversic because we didn't express it. It was kind of like a stigma to say, hey, I have ADHD, or I have autism, or I am dyslexic, or many other conditions. It's not even a condition, it's a who you are, really. And so I wish, and you're helping me with this, Michael, is that we get to talk to each other and say, hey, we're not going to accept this point of view anymore, where we cannot be successful entrepreneurs or successful in anything that we choose in our lives, because we can do anything, really. Everyone has their own dreams and wishes. So that's my overall wish and goal. So for me as a coach, even though I don't work solely with neurodiversic people, a lot of my clients are neurodiversic, because they finally said enough is enough, and I want to change my life. I want to not be so anxious and depressed anymore. I want to feel comfortable to be who I am and to be not afraid to show the others who I am, right? So this is definitely my goal, Michael. And you mentioned that, and this is, I see you all the time. You're always creative, thinking of ways how to empower African Americans or Africans to be who they are, because I know a lot of people from Africa who, they don't talk about neurodiversic issues. It's like a new concept for many areas in Africa, and not just there, but everywhere in the world, Asia, even still in Americas also, it's still a big issue, and people are not, they don't know much about themselves, let alone know someone who has neurodiversic backgrounds. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was thinking I don't want to talk about your goals, right? Because I know I talked about mine already, but yeah, I was thinking how we could help not only our own people, our own fellow dyslexic people, but also how dyslexic creativity
Yeah.
can be used to think outside the box and solve problems in a way neurotypical people might not be able to. So even things like illnesses, diseases, natural disasters, or whatever it might be, we one of the strengths they say about dyslexics is we're problem solvers. So when people think about dyslexia, they normally think of the weaknesses, but
Yeah.
as made by dyslexia called it, they call it a spiky skills profile. So it's we it's almost like depending how spiritual you are, or if you it's almost like God gave us took something away and gave us something else. Maybe again, I
Absolutely.
mean, if you're an atheist, don't push any religion onto anyone, but nature, if you like, whatever you want to call it, um, God, nature, or whatever, has taken something from us, but
I
it's
really
given
think that
us
the people
each
like us
way of thinking.
are meant to teach something about a different way of thinking. Um, most, I would say almost everyone with neurodiversic background are very empathetic, very humanistic, very creative, supportive of other people. And so I totally agree with you, Michael, in that sense. So we, but in the world we live in, that is not, it is, it's funny because I don't want to go into the religion side of things, but we are constantly taught to be empathetic, sympathetic, and all that stuff. But the society in itself doesn't want to behave that way. And I really think people like us need to show it in a human sense, that yes, this is the way to go. This is how you should behave. And but it like I mentioned last time, I struggle a lot on social media because it's such a toxic, negative mindset that people assume that you're an enemy because you are spreading positive message. There's something about that. Um, so I'm sorry, Michael, I interrupted you, but that you hit something on the head that
That's right.
really, really resonates with me because it's something that I notice and it really bothers me that there's this, you know, not radical, I don't know how to describe it. It's something about it seems like it's a very loud um, movement of putting down people who want to help others. I don't know why. There is something about that happening on the internet, in the world. And maybe that's the whole point. Maybe that's why we are here at this moment. You and I, Michael, is to say, all our lives we got used to being pushed down, but now we're like, okay, not gonna tolerate that anymore. So it's louder because there are many people who are not going to tolerate that behavior anymore in that sense.
Yeah. I suppose society reacts to what's different. So I was thinking like as I mentioned before, like in Britain it's Black History Month. Obviously yours is in February, but I think it's similar with dyslexics. It's because we think differently, but with Black people it's because they look different or whatever. So I think society reacts to what's different in a negative way in many cases. And the other thing is, I think with the school system, it's like if you can't do well in exams, like I said in the last video, that you might not be the best at exams. I'm not saying you shouldn't try, but I don't think you should allow that to define you if you can find what you are strong at. And um, uh, yeah, I think that you should find what you are good at, and it might be something different. But at school, people think, oh, if you don't get certain grades, you're not very smart. But there's a lot of great business people or people in different fields, not just business, but who have done well finding what they are good at. And I don't think you have to necessarily be good academic. I mean, not say obviously if you are good academically, then I think you should do your best. But I don't think you should say, oh, because I'm not good academically, I'm a failure necessarily. But um, there's lots of great organisations. I love to bring them together, like uh, made by Dyslexia and Dyslexic Advantage, who I mentioned before. I'd love for them because they've got the same goal. I think it'd be great to work together. And they do a global. Sorry, I'm talking about my own goals. Sorry, because I'm
No,
supposed to be talking about yours. But I just wanted to say that, like when they do a global thing, they've done it in like Sweden and New York. But I think it'd be good if they could go, if it's safe to do so, to parts of Africa and Asia where there's not as much awareness and raise awareness where there's less awareness, like in places like India and Rwanda and Central Africa and South Africa and places like that. And I was thinking that I just want to say one more point before I want to ask you something. But South Africa went through apartheid, but in many ways the school system is kind of like an apartheid. It's not maybe that's a bit of a push to put it, but an exaggeration. But it is a bit like that because you've got people who are like in a certain set who are top, and I think people don't necessarily look. But I just wanted to ask you as well, what's on if you had a bucket list kind of things you wanted to achieve, like either places you wanted to go or how you would raise awareness, how you would help people with dyslexia or other backgrounds, what would be on your bucket list? Have you thought of like a bucket list kind of thing?
ooh, bucket
Or have you
list.
ever done something like that?
Um,
Or a 5 to 10 year plan if you chose something.
that's a very good question. Yeah, and as I mentioned last time, I'm thinking about going back to school to study law, because I would like to have some authority to say I can make a change, you know. And I would love to meet different heads of state to talk about this subject, and but not just by myself. I don't think I can do this solely by myself. I would like to have a group of us to do it, including you, Michael, including so many others who are advocating dyslexia and other neurodiversic backgrounds. Maybe even create our own nonprofit to educate many people. But especially, I would like to advocate education to people who have this neurodiversic diversity, especially. And it will be difficult because it's going to be breaking the standard of life. You know, I think there's so many people. I'm sure you have heard the statistics of people in prison, for example, or people with addiction. Many of them
Yeah,
have neurodiversic problems, and they fall into these bad situations because they were not able to cope in their lives. And it could be, and it's complicated. It's more than just because they're neurodiversic. There could be poverty, there's lack of education, there are many things that are contributing to that. But if we can help the younger generation and the current generation understand themselves better and let them know that there are people like them who are who understand their struggles based on what happened to them in their lives, I think that will empower a lot of people to get them out of very sad situations. Definitely. So I don't know how we're going to do it, Michael. This is what we need to do, Michael. We need you and I and many others. We need to have a Zoom meeting to discuss if we can create an organization who can do that. You know, I wish to do that. And you mentioned many times, and I'm part of your groups, and you're sharing many ideas of, and we're encouraging to meet in Zoom. And I hope that we can do that. Maybe we can do that in the next few months. We'll see. First, I want us to put this out there. That's why we're doing our talks, is
yeah,
to get this awareness that, hey, we want to do this. We want to bring people together to create some
yeah.
community where we can support other dyslexics. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be a challenge, I guess. Obviously, as you say, I mean, politicians, they're probably not the best at listening, I've got to say, but
Yeah.
um, it's like one thing I'm thinking, like, I know from those organizations I talked about, like Made by Dyslexia, the Dyslexia Advantage, and whoever, I know from these organizations that we do have strengths that could help. Uh, like I think of from a selfish point of view, like could help with town football, I'd say, but also could help developing nations in Africa and Asia in terms of growing their economies.
Yeah.
But I say people think it just as a weakness, but it's getting the foot in the door, of course. But I think it'd be cool if, as say, those organisations as well as individuals work together and sort of said, yeah, we want to host a conference, bringing together politicians and teachers and whatnot to see what we can do. And the fact we do have weaknesses for sure. It's like some people say it's only negative or it's a curse, and some people say it's just a gift. But I think it's a bit of both. It's like everyone else, we have our problems and we have our strengths as
Absolutely.
well. And yeah, I remember, to be honest, once I was talking to someone and I said about these things I want to do in Africa and specifically with dyslexia, and they accused me, if I'm honest, they accused me of trying to be a white savior. And
Yeah,
so
that's
I
the
think it's
problem.
difficult to
Yeah.
sort of get people to say, first of all, people knowing that dyslexics have strengths as well as weaknesses, um, and then also to see an advantage of doing that kind of thing. And I mean, to be fair, there are scams online, so I can understand people, for instance, are worried about scams and how do you trust. Like even sometimes I don't trust charities. Like, how do you know the money goes to the people who need it? How do you know it's going to be used in a good way and things like that? So I can understand there's some pushback, but I think it's good that we're doing these chats, and I hope to do with as many dyslexics as possible because um, it's sort of getting things started. And I'm not the most patient, but I think,
Yeah.
as they say, the key to getting ahead is to get started and to yeah, get things going, and then we might have to be patient. It might take longer than it might take a few years, but at least we are starting. Whereas if we start, the earlier we start, the more likely we're going to get it done quicker. It's like one thing I think with young people, it's like when I was younger, I said I want to start a business, and a lot of people said, "Oh, you don't know how to do it. You don't have enough experience. You don't have enough funding. You don't have this or that." And I think young people, it's just even like the school I support in Kenya, just to sort of say, um, start like a little tuck shop and learn lots of mistakes. You learn from your mistakes. In school, they chastise you for making mistakes or copying people and for asking questions and things like that. And that I think that's the way we learn. We learn from copying other people, whether we know it or not, subconsciously. Or we learn from asking questions and trial and error. I don't like failing, but that's the way you learn. And I've probably gone a bit on tangents, but yes, but I think, yeah, just young people starting their own businesses. I'm a great believer in that. Like, you don't have to succeed the first time. And I think a lot of people think it from an academic point of view, where like, you've got to be, if you think about the academic system, you're an A-star student or whatever. So sometimes you have to fail a few times to learn of that business. Sometimes I went off on tangents, but I was thinking when I asked about the bucket list, I was thinking that some people might say that comes across a bit morbid. What I meant was like a 5-10 year plan or whatever, that kind of thing.
I wanted to touch back to what you said earlier about, them calling you the white savior. It unfortunately, this is what I also face a lot of negative responses to what I'm trying to do. I've been called a narcissist, because I wanted to help other people and they think I am trying to benefit from it. Only because I did not want to go into discussion with this particular person, because they were very offensive and degrading. So I pulled myself out of it, and they were, accusing me, and they called me scum, and they called me narcissist, and I'm like, I'm not an enemy to you. you know and that's a challenge. I think a lot of people is they assume the worst in you if you are trying to make a difference. So they will stereotype you, and they will call you names. They will tell your ideas are garbage. I was told my idea was a garbage. And they're
And
just
but I think
totally closed off to seeing what is the person's real intention. And I think we need to encourage open discussion with no, I'm lost of words. That's my problem with dyslexia. I don't have the words, but I want people to have more open discussions without tearing each other down in that sense. And I don't think when I see you wanting to help African people, I don't see you as someone who is trying to save them. They don't need to be saved. They are their own people. They take care of themselves. And I really think it's great that you want to empower them. You know, I wish I was empowered. My friend Emmanuel, who's my really good friend from Ghana, he's one of my biggest supporters. Doing what I do. And so I love the people from Africa. They are very genuine type of people. And yeah, so I'm sorry, Michael, that you had that experience with people, but I'm sure that's not the only one. There are many, as we know. That's for sure.
But I know I said it in the last time we had the discussion, but for young people growing up with dyslexia, there's some, say, Made by Dyslexia is really good. And the Dyslexia Advantage, I say, is really good. If you check out some of their videos on YouTube,
Yeah,
I hope some of them are still there. And so they've got entrepreneurs, filmmakers, one or two filmmakers, and people from all sorts of different backgrounds, scientists and all sorts, who have done really well. And they talk about how they struggled at school. I think all of them struggled at school and they've done really well. And someone was talking about something that gave me a lot of hope. And he said, and I think there's a chance that a lot of entrepreneurs face, and probably scientists might face the same thing, which is, because I think business is kind of like science, it's a type of science, but
absolutely,
which is trying to get people to understand you. And this person was saying, when I speak to non-dyslexics, they don't like my ideas. But he goes, when I read the book, The Dyslexic Advantage, I understood that they have to go from A to Z. And I thought it's quite kind of funny in a way, because it's like the opposite in school. Like the students, like they might be like, how do you not get this? And if you've got a lot of dyslexic kids, you're still on a certain page and like, how have you not? And it's sort of the opposite. And sometimes in business, where we can achieve great things. And I was thinking that when you were talking, I was thinking, because I'm really trying to make sure I'm listening as much as possible and listen to your goals today. So I was thinking about some of the dreams I have about, like, I was thinking like Richard Branson, who talks about being dyslexic, and he works with Made by Dyslexia. And I was thinking he founded Virgin Enterprises, and they have Virgin Money, and there's Schwab Corp in America. I thought, what if they work together to help dyslexics to invest, or invest on our behalf even, so, and some of us could learn to invest, so we can have, one of my goals is that we have enough money through investments that we have a choice as to whether we want to work or not. So we would have that money in there. So it gives you much more freedom, rather than having to do a job you don't want to do. I know sometimes you might say in life you have to do things you don't want to do, but it gives you much more choices. I call it potential FU money, because I say if your boss treats you bad, you can quit. Or even if you just want to focus on your hobbies, you can quit in an ethical way. But yeah, so my goal would be that we would have that trusted institution, or those institutions which would invest on our behalf, and we would earn enough money. And then people who, like, let's say you're a teacher with dyslexia and you enjoy helping students, you could stick to that or stick to whatever job. But if you wanted to quit, you would have that option, or you wouldn't have to worry about when you're going to lose your job.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so that's one of my dreams. Again, I'm trying to listen to your dreams. I remember when I was younger, like my stepdad, sometimes he'd ask me something and I'd probably go off into the clouds or whatever, think about something else, and he'd ask me what, and he'd get quite offended, because I'm trying to get to be a better listener. But I think over time I have. But
no, right.
I'm so obsessed with my own thoughts and
exactly. No, Michael, I mean, we are touching, we both have lots of ideas, so we want to share it. So whatever you tell me, I think of new ideas, and of course I inspire you. And it's actually, this is the whole point of what we need to do as dyslexics, is to share ideas openly, and and we don't judge each other. We get it. We understand. I'm like, so I'm not offended if you jump in and share your ideas, because I think that's the whole point of brainstorming, is sharing ideas. What comes to my mind, I better say it. Before, I used to hold a lot of my ideas, because they, like you said, people would say, oh, you're not listening to me, or you're going off topic. But sometimes the greatest ideas is when you go off topic. So this is something that we need to encourage. It's okay. It's okay. If you come, you have to come with a mutual understanding that we are here to share ideas. It's okay to interrupt and have a different point of view. Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. So we need to think, okay, so, you and I, Michael, we have these ideas. We need to plan how to outreach to other people. So maybe in this video that we're going to post, I encourage others, if you are interested to have a moment where dyslexics meet together and share ideas, how we can, build a bigger community of support of each other. I encourage you to message below, and we can add you to a list. You can also subscribe, and I will send posts outside saying, hey, we're going to do this. So if you want to join us in the Zoom meeting, and probably we will record it too, like we're doing now, and just sharing it. We'll see how many people are interested. So I'm going to be posting this on Facebook and on my YouTube channel, Mind Your Words podcast. Michael, I'm sure you'll be sharing on your Facebook and YouTube when you bring it back. So just spreading the news.
I was thinking about, so I was thinking as well, like, say if someone doesn't want to be, I'm trying to think of solutions, like if someone doesn't want to be on camera,
sure,
or if they want to use a fake name or anything like that, you can use a fake name, or you don't have to put your video on if you don't want to, just in case there's some people who, for whatever reason, might not be comfortable being on camera.
Absolutely.
So
And
there's going to
it,
be different options.
yeah, there's not going to be any um rules saying that you have to be seen on camera, or even you can just come and listen too. We like to share ideas anyway, because I'm always a person who's saying, an idea sparks another idea, and I will be more than happy to have someone have an idea from our talks to build on this. If it This is the whole point of is helping others. So everyone's welcome to
Yeah.
join us in this discussion for sure.
And normally when I make videos of my own on Facebook or whatever, or YouTube when I get a chance, I normally ask people, I'd say, please do comment whatever you want in the comments. Even if it's constructive
Sure.
criticism or whatever. I prefer people to be polite, but please do, like, so for instance, that question I asked earlier, like how dyslexics can make the world a better place, not just for ourselves, but even for humanity generally, and even for animals. But yeah, so please do get involved in the comments. Anyone watching as well, please do let us know any ideas, especially dyslexic
Absolutely.
people, as they everyone's welcome. But to let us know like what is a way dyslexic people and our unique thinking can actually make things better for. Like I love animals, nature, and things like that. So yeah, how can we make the world a better place?
Absolutely.
Generally, especially for each other, but
I
for
generally think that's our
people.
mission as dyslexics, is to make it the world a better place. And we are built for it. We are definitely built for this experience. And like I said in the previous, we have a lifetime of experience of challenges in our life, and we are not afraid to speak our minds and to do what we want to do. We have our own mission in this life, and to help the world as we can. And I'm happy to do that. I am proud of us that we have this in ourselves, as neurodivergent people, that we have a desire to make the world a better place. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
amen to that.
I was thinking, would you mind if I showed my T-shirt again? What I showed
Yeah, show it.
in my
Show your
last.
shirt.
No, I just have to get it.
No problem.
Just in case someone didn't see this, about the school I support in Kenya.
I love it.
Put the pictures clear enough. So this is dyslexia, the gift of seeing differently, seeing things differently,
Seeing
and
things
it's
differently. Exactly.
Dyslexia Organization Kenya Grim Adventure. So I think that's when they often do hikes to raise awareness about dyslexia in Kenya, where they need a lot more
We
awareness.
have to put in the
Um,
link to their organization just to give them
yes,
support.
yes, I have to try and remember to put the link in.
Yeah,
Link in. So,
exactly.
yeah, so
So,
just in case people didn't see the other video, so I think I'd share that. Yeah,
so I guess our message today, our final message of our talk today, is that reach out to us. We want to create a
definitely.
community of neurodivergent people, um, including
Yeah,
dyslexic individuals like us, just to meet, support each other's plans and ideas. I know there are so many people who have their own you know, businesses, charities, and organizations that they are working on, and we want to support you and give you a platform
yeah,
to share with the rest of the world. So if you want to reach out to either me or Michael to share, maybe in our next talk, we can do that for you, and we want to share ideas. So I have nothing else to say. Michael, do you have anything,
yeah.
last words?
So yeah, everyone's welcome, and yeah, it'd be great to build a network of any dyslexic people, those who might need encouragement and support, and those who I think I'm not sure if the message for dyslexia awareness this month is the actual official sort of thing is supposed to be about declaring being dyslexic, so raising your voice and telling people, and especially those who have become successful in their chosen field. I think it'd be great. You can inspire others, but everyone's welcome with everyone with dyslexia is welcome to get
Exactly.
involved. So, yeah, network support each other.
And if you, even if you're not a successful person yet,
Yeah, yeah,
there are people like myself who are coaching others to build their path,
yeah,
to build their power inside themselves. So if you want to talk with me, I have my coffee conversations. Just if you have an idea you want to share, or or some thoughts about if I'm making the right decisions, I'm here for you. So feel free to reach out to me if you need some coaching services. And Michael's here
And
also to go ahead, Michael.
sorry, I just want to say success is how you define it. It's not about being a billionaire necessarily. In
Sure.
fact, I would love for us to be into philanthropy. I'd love for us to get into a position where we can give money and live off. I mean, this can be different for different people, but if we can live with less and just be happy with what we have, be happy
Exactly.
to have a roof over our head, enough to eat, enough to drink. As I said before, like I used to want to be super rich, but now if I was, I'd give most of my money away. Some of it would be, like I say, the Italian football thing would be a bit selfish, but other than that, I'd love to help everyone to have houses or a house to live on, and enough to eat. And so I think success can be different, and I think, yeah, I'd love for dyslexics to be philanthropists or charitable people, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, again, success can be different to different people. So if you
Absolutely.
enjoy your life,
We
win,
all have,
that kind of thing.
we
So
don't all have the same life path, and we are here for different reasons, and we have different skills for a reason. So your success may look different than my success or Michael's success. But you have to define what is success for yourself.
yeah,
Definitely.
yeah.
Exactly. Well, thank
And
you,
all
Michael, for
welcome. I
inviting
thought
me
I'd put
once
it on a
again.
positive note and say all welcome. But yeah,
Yeah,
thank you. Thanks so much for supporting my plans as well.
absolutely.
I
We're
appreciate
going to
that a lot.
talk more. I'm losing my voice already.
Yeah.
It's good we're finishing. But we're going to talk more, and we're going to have more talks in November and December. Michael has mentioned to me that we're
I'll
going to
put them
have
around you. Yeah.
different themes to talk about. So I look forward to talking more with you, Michael. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much. Thank you. Yeah.
All right.